Sorry, I'm looking at these comps, and I'm seeing the Philadelphia Fusion running EQO on Tracer and Boombox on the Batiste for a Batiste BAP double shield. This is not usual for Gibraltar. Normally, this is supposed to lose to what the Paris Eternal are running. I thought we were going to see a mirror here. I was all ready to say, can Boombox stand up on the Ana after not playing it in ages? But instead, Philly, they're flipping the script and they're going for Ash Tracer on Gibraltar. It's going to be really difficult, I think, for EQO to find value on this Tracer. It's hard for him to get up on the high ground.
Tell you what is difficult, though, as well. Xe to find any sort of heads because he's up against the double shield comps. And it's hard on a normal day, but these angles are quite narrow. And look at this, EQO in the backline just harassing him out. He can take him out here. EQO's in a bit of trouble, though. He's kind of losing this engagement. Has to use his recall, and now the dive is perfect. EQO goes down.
Not a role that he's known for, the Tracer. He has occasionally flexed to it in the past, but he's not a powerhouse Tracer like Carpe or, like Soon or these kind of players that these two teams could field. And that's opened up a lot of space now. Paris Eternal could just charge on in.
Trying to bring down Sando there. There was a Bionade on him. They couldn't quite do it. The Immortality Field, I believe, saved him. You can see the Fusion just kind of backed into the corner here as Nosemight again just jumping into them, trying to build it. That was a great sleep in the backline. That was EQO slept up. It's going to mean an insta-kill for him. Fielder turning up once again. And now it's time for Nosemight using that Primal Rage, seeing if he can find any sort of targets. Knocking him in the corner. Sparkle sets him up. Knocks him down, 2 kills. It's realistically all he needs to try and win this fight out. Just with the deflect, that shows how much he does respect Carpe, but not enough to try and leave him alone at the tail end of that.
I just don't think that this is the best composition that you can play for the Philadelphia Fusion. I simply don't agree with it. Maybe it's because Boombox doesn't want to play the Ana, and the Ana is so pivotal when it comes to Gibraltar, but I don't think that Philly are going to have much success here. The high ground control is all in favor of Paris. They're going to be building up the nanoblades really quickly here. Philly have got their hands full just being able to maintain high ground control.
Yeah, they're just trying to hold on to this high ground. It's so important to try and contest this one, but see, look at this.
Philly have high
goes
ground.
Down.
Philly have high ground, but Paris have the high ground.
Yeah, they're just jumping on top of them. The Gravitic Flux is going to be used by Fury, and it is going to even it out as Nosemight goes down. A necessary commitment when it comes to that fight. They needed to expend something to try and turn it in their favor because it was looking disastrous.
And it's a great ultimate coming out from Fury that allows them a bit more control. Oh, Handbin getting staggered a bit there, but it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. Still just under 4 minutes remaining. Xe going over to the McCree. Again, just showcasing this comfort pick hero for him that he uses to help deal with the Tracer flanks in the backline. EQO nowhere near as scary an opponent as Striker, who he already got the better of earlier on in the day, but I think this is going to come down to a Nanoblade. 10% away for both Sparkle and Fielder.
Been a while since we've seen the Sparkle Nanoblade, but I'm all for it. Bob going to be bashed back, slapped, booped. Eventually going to be falling down to very low amounts of HP. Sparkle in trouble here. He's eating a lot of damage off onto the side, trying to avoid it, but he's going to get healed up now, and the Blade just moments away. Fusion, they need to get a pick off early if they want to try and stop this. You can see the Halt Accretion was used, and that's one less to deal with. Sparkle coming in now with the Blade. It's a Nano Blade. He's got another dash, and now he wants to go in. Great stun, great timing, but not enough to stop him as the team just dives straight in there, supporting him fully.
God, Bren, he's so smart. His brain is so wrinkly, man. You watch Sparkle play, and he's using his deflect on a Brigitte to avoid getting whip shot so they can use his dash at the perfect distance to get back in. He is aware of everything that the Philadelphia Fusion has to stop him, and he just counters it. Now they're trying to punish the spawners, because a lot of Philadelphia Fusion got the front spawn there.
Yep, a little bit of jukes going on here. As you can see, Fury using the Gravitic Flux just to survive. Picks a couple of the players up. The Fusion, they want to fight this one. It's going to be traded out evenly, though. The Self-Destruct takes out Boombox. It's going to be no more Immortality. Nothing to really stop them here. The Fusion get out alive. You can see the Paris, they tried to take advantage of the forward spawns. Fusion out of position. The Fusion somehow getting away with very minimal casualties.
But at the end of the day, what really changes? Paris continued to move the payload, and Fusion had to use a couple of ults. Was it really worth it? Yeah, because it stopped a huge amount of momentum for Paris. But is it still good for Philly? No, because Paris are going to come back in with the Nanoblade here and have a great opportunity of finishing out this fight.
Now we see Carpe moving over to the McCree just to try and stop Sparkle in his tracks. We've got two of potentially the best McCree players in the world facing off here. Exy, who's making a name for himself earlier on in the year, and he's playing against the OG, the veteran. And that's why Carpe is known as one of the best McCrees in the world. Shutting down Sparkle before he can get anything done, but the next fight, they're going to have that Nano Blade.
The fact that Carpe has that flashbang does give them an extra tool to be able to work with. You know, they're playing into Brigitte Bash, a whip shot, Immortality Field, Accretion, Halt, and now additionally, the flashbang. So if Sparkle's able to get value with this Nano Blade, I mean, you'd have to be a monster. But we've already seen him do it against similar level teams so far in this tournament.
He wants to go in, he's got an armor pack, and that is going to be where the go button is pressed. Immortality Field to the backline, stunned, bashed up. He can't get anything done with it. Fusion, they play it perfectly. They walk backwards, they lay down the amplification matrix, and Sparkle realizes that it would be futile to try and play into it. A great defense from the Fusion.
The Deadeye as well from Carpe. It doesn't end up becoming being the flashbang that's the problem. It's the Deadeye, and Sparkle just can't approach it. Sparkle dashed in front of Fielder there and activated his deflect to try and keep his Ana alive, but that's not going to quite work, and that's another 10-second reset for the Paris Eternal. Honestly, this McCree change, if it's able to actually stop Sparkle, you have stopped Paris.
So many different looks that the Fusion can pull off here. It's interesting to see, and they're still playing at high tempo, still with the aggression. Have ults to work with, double support or double tank ults. You can see the Gravitic Flux is one of them, along with not even the Supercharger. The Hulk just pulled them together to make it easy for EQO to burn through them. Exy goes down. There's no more Immortality Field to save them. Fusion just rolling over their opposition. And only a minute remains for the Paris Eternal to make something happen.
And the Paris Eternal have gone back to this double shield Bat Brig backline. Now that they don't feel comfortable with Sparkle's Nanoblade clutching, they're forced to seek different win conditions. And their win condition now is just that Exy will win the long-range hit scan duel. Whether or not he kills Carpe... Oh, Carpe has actually made the change back over.
What a stick! Oh, what a stick! What a play! EQO finding that one. Carpe making the switch over to the Widowmaker just to assert his dominance. And this is the Fusion that was promised. Finding their footing. Only 30 seconds now for Paris Eternal to make anything happen, and Sparkle is nowhere near a blade.
Carpe just changing that single hero, changes the entire dynamic of their composition. When he goes to the McCree, he proves that he can shut down Sparkle's Nanoblades. Paris are forced to adapt. Exy goes over to the Widowmaker. Carpe swaps to the Widow. And now a lot of ults up here for the Philadelphia Fusion.
Yeah, using
how on earth did Paris win?
How Matrix committed. Paris cannot play in the line of sight of this. They will get deleted. And now the rally just to move forward as well. Alarm wants to lead the charge for his team, moving into the fray. Yoink together though, an opportunity maybe, potentially a chance. But Sparkle, the Accretion is going to be pushing him backwards. And now it's the Gravitic Flux just to lift them all into the air and back down again. Paris will not be denied though. They move forward with the extra health, the extra armor coming out. And a great shield bash from FD God stops EQO, takes him out. Carpe now forced to try and go sicko mode. Moving onto the flanks, but he's being pressured as well. Supercharger, down on the ground. The Paris Eternal are rolling this one in for free. Exy, so much space to work with. Somebody's got to contest, someone's got to touch this one. Yoink together, Sparkle now moving over to the Doomfist. And the punches are elite, the damage is overwhelming. Can anyone stop this man? It doesn't feel like they can. Sparkle with so many to seal the deal. And the Paris Eternal in the overtime are able to cap it up.
That's absurd. It takes a certain kind of roster to clutch out against the Fusion.
Ridiculous.
Oh my god. Alarm moving forward with his rally, just trying to make sure that they get the early picks and seal the deal. But the Paris tank line holds strong, and actually, it's FD God who turns the fight around. Despite the fact that Sparkle and Exy were taken out, FD God pops his rally, shield bashes EQO and finishes him off with a whip shot, and it's the Paris Eternal tanks and supports who hold strong in the overtime and push forward with that rally armor, setting up Sparkle for the clutch kills towards the end. That is clutching victory from the jaws of defeat if I have ever seen it.
Sparkle again. And this was, I believe, the halt to try and pull them all together. And the uppercut brought them out of the range of the immortality field that was laid down. So they're able to get a lot of those kills off the back of Sparkle. And it's easy to forget, he's got the Doomfist. And where's Fusion's Doomfist specialist, you know? Well, he's on the bench right now.
It's true. Absolutely true. I don't think it's going to really be a factor outside of those clutch scenarios, but Sparkle comes up huge there. The question now, though, is Paris have essentially been gifted an opportunity to win this map.
Really have.
It wasn't looking good for them. The Paris attack was stunted a lot. Philly are still looking really strong. It's a little bit of a stumble towards the end, but generally speaking, that worked out far better than expected for Philly.
Philly had everything going for them, I believe. The ultimates, the abilities, the rally that they were leading into, but now it's a new dawn, a new day. The Fusion are going to be coming out with their double shield comp. EQO back on the Tracer. Paris Eternal not willing to go up this high ground. You can see them just holding on to it. The card's going to steadily get pushed in. A little bit of progress as the Fusion start to rotate up onto the high ground themselves. Big Bionade connects onto 2. The tank's forced to play a little bit more passive on the Fusion side of things. But it is a bit scrappy. Playing into XC, where he's got these long sight lines, just trying to lead it in. The grasp from Fury is going to be eating up a lot of those shots. There's decent progress being made as well, as EQO is on cart duty.
A lot of pressure here. A lot of pressure here on No Smite and Hanbin. They have to play things perfectly. Keep the Philadelphia Fusion stuck in the choke points whilst also contesting the card. No Smite has popped his primal and just disengages in time, helping build up field as Nana Boost, and this Nana Blade is now going to be online. This is the role for the Paris Eternal tanks. Delay for the Nana Blade and let Sparkle clutch.
He didn't have the Blade! That's how much trust they have in Sparkle, and the damage he's put in is more than enough. For the Philadelphia Fusion, they do answer back. Sparkle is shut down, finally. Starting to make these minor adaptations, learning when the timings are going to be up, when Sparkle has the Blade, and they know how to play around it a little bit better now as the series progresses. So Fusion have been given an opening.
That's a huge opening. Great shutdown play on the star player for the Paris Eternal. And it's going to be a long time until Sparkle gets his Blade back up. That's a good 30 to 90 seconds where Philadelphia are going to be able to attack without having to worry about it.
XE in trouble, XE in trouble! EQO with the beatdown. Pulse Bomb comes down, but it matters not because it's Carpe the one who claims the kill onto FD God. And that means the Paris, they need to play aggressive. But it doesn't matter how aggressive you play because the Fusion will always be ready for you. Beating them down, EQO. I mean, the Tracer's not a role that he's known for, but he's looking quite clean at the moment.
Yeah, looking good on the offense. I would say that he got caught out quite a bit on defense, and it was more to do with Carpe and the tanks keeping the Paris Eternal at bay. But on offense, his job is basically just to push the payload and harass the backlines in team fights. And he's done that spectacularly well so far. Sparkle is really struggling to build up his blades right now. He's only at 40%. Normally he builds them up so much faster.
And it's because of the lack of Orisa. He needs the holds to try and combo it together. You can see that the Paris Eternal are trying to play aggressively here. They use the nano onto Sparkle. And yes, he's still alive, but they're just pumping everything into him to try and make him build up these blades. But it matters not. The Fusion, they use their ultimates. The Supercharger was expended. And there's a quick little headshot from Carpe. I mean, XE just got caught unaware. Fusion rolling this one in now. Checkpoint B looks like almost a freebie.
I don't know about that. There's going to be a rally and a Blade coming up here, and No Smite's got Primal, so this is still going to be a really tough one for Philadelphia Fusion. Large chance of Philly getting reset here if Sparkle's Blade cannot be stopped. That's the key, though. They've got to try and shut down the Sparkle Blade. They know it's coming.
Sparkle's Blade now trying to make it work. The Mortality Field is forced out, so he doesn't really get too much done. Not even a single kill. Fusion just played back, but now we're going to see the Primal Rage utilized, trying to push Carpe away from the rest of his team. Self-destruct somehow gets Sado. Not sure how that happened. That might get killed there. Sparkle quite low, but being healed up eventually. But no, alarm will fall, and XE is popping off now as he made the move over to McCree a little bit earlier.
XE hitting some crucial shots towards the end, and Sparkle staying alive.
Wow.
Let's Paris Eternal stay in control, and this, Brent, this is where I'm worried for the Philadelphia Fusion team comp. They've done a great job of making Ash Tracer work so far in Gibraltar. I'll reiterate again for the viewers that this is not what you usually see happen on Watchpoint Gibraltar. Ash Tracer is not the favored comp. Double Shield finds it hard to be able to take the high grounds, and now pushing in through these choke points, No Smite, Hanbin, and Sparkle, this is their playground now. They can have control of the high ground. The nano is going in.
Yeah.
And the choke points.
We're using it on Nosemice. Sometimes they prioritize it on Sparkle just to keep him alive so we can build up the blade. Sparkle goes down and they don't get anything done with the nano boost here. Fusion.
That's a massive play from Alarm.
Yep. Alarm creating openings and giving opportunities now. Perfect shield there. FD God staying alive. Deadeye from above. XC finding the pickoffs. There's another one for you. Sado falls. Boombox, look at, okay, just hiding.
He's been seen.
Yeah, he's been seen. Maybe, I can appreciate the effort there. It's a cheeky play, trying to hide, maybe get a back cap when they moved away.
But I think Boombox even going for that, even thinking about that, shows you that Philly are a bit worried about not getting checkpoint B. It becomes so difficult on Gibraltar if you're attacking with a composition that can't take high ground, pushing into it. Paris is going to have another blade, which, to be fair, the Fusion have done a great job at shutting down so far, but they've also got to pressure Xe on the high ground. The tanks who have Primal available, it becomes a monumental task.
He knows my going in again with Primal Rage. Just trying to knock him about, and Fury used the Gravitic Flux. Are you kidding me? Gets taken out by Xe in the middle of the air, but Carpe made the move, somehow found his way onto the high ground and traded out for Xe. So the 1-for-1, but I think Philly would be happier having Fury on that Sigma right now. Still with an ultimate in his bank, but not the case. Now Sparkle wants to go in with the blade of his own! One swipe, 2 kills. That's all he needs. Finds a third as well, just for good measure. And look at him. He wants to try and stagger out Fury. He wants to try and take him out. Not quite. Fury has the boosters to get his way out of there. Are you kidding me?
Oof. That was close to EQO being staggered as well. There's only 30 seconds left. Fury has gone over to the Diva, which gives them some ability to contest the high ground. It means that Xe can't just free fire from up there anymore. And Paris don't have very many ults to be able to work with, but this is still tough for Philly. Their positioning is dreadful on the low ground.
Xe kills EQO though. Only 11 seconds remaining. The Fusion, they have to do something. They have to make a play. Pass Eternal with complete high ground dominance. Now you see the supercharger used by Sado. It's desperate times! They call for desperate measures, but Alarm, he falls! He goes down, no more rally armor, no more sustain. Xe from the high ground, from on high, delivering justice, and that is going to be the Paris Eternal taking the map from the Fusion, and they are evening it out 2-2. And Josh, I got to make a bit of a confession. I got so excited during that series, I took a sip of my water and I spilled it all over my chest.
I mean, those kind of things, they happen when you're watching players like these. It's been a series that's full of clutch moments, hype. The map picks have been amazing as well in terms of the mind games between these two teams. Yeah. I think Philly are gonna look back at this and wonder why they didn't opt for the Genji. I know that maybe they don't really want Boombox to be playing the Ana when Alarm would have been playing it for the whole of the rest of the season. Maybe they think that in some sense their tank line or Carpe is better when they have the double shield, but as well as they did on defense, they were completely stumped when it came to attacking Gibraltar Point B. They were tactically at a loss. Their strategy fell flat, and that's almost entirely because they just could not take the high ground with the Orisa and with the Sigma and with the Tracer.
I wonder. On Sparkle as the game goes on. So I have utmost confidence that the Fusion will be able to come out on top in this map. But of course, the Paris Eternal going to be answering with some tailored stuff. And it is, of course, Village is going to be the first section. As you can see, Sparkle is going to be on the Mei here soon on the Reaper, a role that he's very comfortable on. Fusion opting for, okay, EQ on a Genji, Carpe on the Ashe. Very reminiscent of map 1 on Lijiang.
Yeah, very reminiscent, and that was where the Paris Eternal just ran away with it, honestly. They're gonna get map control first, they're gonna get control of the point first, but they have to worry about EQO being sneaky into their backline. If EQO can find an early pickoff on FD or Fielder, that will change the tide of this fight completely.
Yeah, they're trying to put pressure onto EQO, you can see him. EQO just trying to build up his blade in the midst of them, but the Ice Wall goes up. It's a tried and tested strategy, and it means that they get a free capture. So the Paris Eternal are in control of the point, but Fusion's game plan is kind of just to try and surround and conquer them, but EQO caught out of position. And I believe that was FD God booping him into range. You can see he got the assist there at the end. If you lose your Genji player, you're losing a lot of damage output, actually.
You certainly are, and this point will continue to tick up. It's not really like they can punish the Philadelphia Fusion, though. They can't speed boost engage into them, they'll just end up getting surrounded. So for Paris, the game plan remains the same.
Oh! You're kidding me!
It should have remained the same. That's Soon just coming straight in, getting a bit too ambitious. Maybe the finals energy taking him off, Absolutely. And he makes a big mistake.
Nasty from Carpe to hit that fadeaway headshot, and it's going to force the Paris Eternal to commit ultimates to hold on to this. You get 2 kills, remember, but they lost another one. Sparkle goes down. Still, it matters not. Bembest swinging away, puts in the damage, and Carpe will fall in the end to the orb. It means that Paris do hold on, but a moment of weakness there, Soon getting caught out of position.
Rookie Korean talents of Fielder and Sparkle investing their ultimates to save Soon, and that's another mistake, but this time for the Philadelphia Fusion. EQO is getting picked off early in these fights because he has to be the guy that makes the play for the Fusion. He needs to be putting pressure on the backlines, otherwise Philly just can't engage.
I'll say it right now, it's a lot of pressure on FD God right now to shut down EQO's flanks. And he's doing an amazing job of it. Every single time he's setting his team up, he's booping EQO into the line of sight of his team to take him out. FD God really
and he was really the man of the map on Li Zhang as well. So FD God is just coming up clutch on the ball so far.
Straight away, they want to play into them, but it's a huge gravitic flux. Instant sound barrier going to be utilized by FD God to keep his team alive, to keep them up. Supercharger taken out as well. EQO trying to get something done with the blade, but he is going to get shut down as well. The shatter is immense. And that is all they need to 100-0. The Philadelphia Fusion not able to counteract what the Paris Eternal were chucking at them.
Absolutely outplayed in every metric there. EQO dying early on. The ults used much better for Paris Eternal. A solo shatter to make sure that EQO couldn't clutch. And now what I'm anticipating is Paris to move back to Widow Genji. They might not, but last time when they played against the Valiant, that's what they went for. Here's Soon as well. Just free to shred the back line and gets a nice little view of EQO as he's brought down onto his back.
It's a difficult composition because you want to be trying to use those halts to combo up with EQO to try and get some value out of his blade, but Paris Eternal played that so aggressively, and I think the high tempo was what threw the Fusion off towards the end of that. But it is a new round, so a new opportunity now for the Fusion to try and counteract and battle back, so to speak. Going to be opting for some Genji mirrors.
Yeah, Soon is on the Ashe though, not the Widowmaker. They ran Widow before, and it's, it's difficult to get the most value in the world, though Soon did play very well, but now they're going to go for the Ashe mirror. Soon versus Carpe, 2 very veteran presences.
Spark, you can see, just going behind the enemy team there. Nice halt to try and combo something up here, and they do find a couple of opening pickoffs, but answered back almost immediately. It was looking good for a few moments for Fusion. They were putting in decent damage, but the Paris Eternal, they answer back, and those halts, again, just comboing it up with Sparkle.
I gotta say, I love how Bembest plays. He is not afraid to sacrifice his health and be a bit of bait for the enemy team. He'll push his body forwards, use the Fortify, and use the halts in aggressive positions. He takes space, and if he gets pressured, he backs up, and the rest of the Paris Eternal collapse on whoever chases him.
Okay, alright, nice little halt accretion. That's FD God gone, so Fusion with an opening. If they choose to capitalize on it, they just need to wedge themselves in there. 30% in counting for the Paris Eternal. They do have Sparkle's blade ready, which is as much of a deterrent as you can really ask for. But the Fusion not gonna really back off here. Blade is going to be used now by Sparkle. One dash in, finds the pick, goes straight away in there with the dash reset. Somehow gets the value that he needed, and the Fusion are going to have to back off and reset.
Huge blade by Sparkle.
Oh, Soon.
Really nice. Oh, Soon gets the better end of Carpe and throws down a sit in the chat. Oh, using his own trash talk against him. That one's got a sting. There normally isn't time for trash talk in the middle of these big finals matches. We don't see it very often. Teams are hyper-focused on the match at hand. But as soon as he's subbed in, man, he's coming out with the spice.
Yeah, and now Soon has this bomb ultimate to try and contest it. You see Carpe sends his in. Nikio does have a blade, but Ob's not in a good position here. Not even contesting the point, so Paris Eternal, they just back off. Play the angles, and now ultimates are going to start to get traded once more. Hanbin has the flux ready and waiting. Looking for the right time to try and let it off. Finally, decides now is the time. Fully letting it go, in fact, still holding on to it. Finally going to be using it, but now it's EQO's time with the blade. Straight into the back line, dodges the accretion, lets it go and gets the kill onto Hanbin just to trade it out. So the Fusion finally biding their time, find an opening enough to take and recap this point. Necessary, completely necessary.
Absolutely. EQO with a really nice blade, comboed with both of his tank ults as well. Something that Philly have been doing more and more. Hello, Soon.
Soon? Okay.
Just being staggered over in the left-hand side, honestly. There wasn't much that Soon was really able to do. You don't normally stagger an Ashe or a Widowmaker because they can kill you as soon as look at you. But they managed to dodge that. And alright, now the question is, can the Philadelphia Fusion hold? They must hold this next fight against Sparkle's Superblade. Otherwise, they will go down 3-2 in the series. That is devastating on their map pick of Nepal.
That's it. Potentially final fight territory.
Huge pick.
Big pick off, and they want to go anyway. They want to try and take this, but Sparkle goes down. The Fusion, they play this perfectly. FD God goes down early. The timing was not there, so Bembest, he couldn't make the decision to cancel his supercharger. He lays it down and wastes the ultimate.
That's almost perfect for the Philadelphia Fusion. You could not have asked for it to be better. You repel the push, and the supercharger is wasted. That's great stuff. FD God has been picked off a number of times now, right at the beginning. So he's definitely got to try and play a little safer, stay behind the Sigma shields, use the bodies of his tanks to be able to get in for free. They still have the blade, though. Sparkle could turn this still.
Yep. Use Bob, and that's going to be contesting the point up, so forces a couple of players to just devote their attention to him in the corner. Eventually he goes down, and now you see EQO again playing that flank style. Are you kidding me? What was that? Dash into the bash, and oh my goodness. Beautiful mechanics there from EQO, and Sparkle has to really think about how he wants to be using this ultimate.
This is getting close. It's tense for both teams. The Hulk into the Dragon Blade as well. Can he find anything? He's hit by the accretion, pushed back. So much damage to Fury though, and he does eventually fall. The Sigma down for the Philadelphia Fusion, and that's going to be the tank line. 99%.
And EQO, he's going to come up huge. He's going to clutch this. Finds one. He's going to get the dash reset. One slash into the back line. Fusion do not want to give this one up. They have to press forward. They have to try and find a pickoff. Moving forward now, but the amplification matrix from Paris is going to be laid down, and that window is a boatload of damage to try and push away the Fusion as they try to recontest this one. Soon with the follow-up kill there onto Carpe. The damage dealers are being dealt with. Paris Eternal moving forward once more with the tank ultimates. Hanbin using that gravitic flux just to peel them away, and finally going to be utilizing it to pull them all the way into the sky. And the Paris Eternal walk away victorious with that one. 3-2 in our grand finals.
What a showing from Paris. They've had 2 maps picked against them now. 2 control maps, Lijiang and Nepal. I would say great map picks for the Philadelphia Fusion.
You would think,
smart,
right? Yeah.
To force the Paris Eternal to make substitutions on both control maps picked against them. They have been dominant. Absolutely dominant performance there from the Paris Eternal. Soon getting subbed in, even has time for a little bit of trash talk as well, as he just helps his team to go up 3-2 in the series, and he's just going to pop back to the bench. Don't worry, boys, I've done my job.
It's so good, honestly. This is high-level Overwatch, so reminiscent of what we used to see early on as well. The Genji, you know, the hit scan coming out to play. Obviously, Orisa wasn't quite around then, but the
Philadelphia Fusion. He has not had the same kind of game as we saw him have against the Shock or previously in this tournament where he was just rolling Dallas around.
We have a bit of time, Josh, and I think we should go over as well how much this series means to the Philadelphia Fusion. This is a team that has always come so close in the finals throughout the Overwatch League's history. You think back to the Grand Finals of 2018, a couple of the stage finals, but never quite making it that far.
Yeah. It's Season 1 in 2018, Stage 2. They fell to the NYXL in that stage finals. They fell in the Grand Finals to the London Spitfire. In 2019, they fell to the San Francisco Shock in the semifinals. And then, most recently, in the May Melee, they only made the semis before going out against the Florida Mayhem. This is a team with enormous potential, but even in their super team iteration of 2020, they have not found a single trophy, a single title to their name. And immediately we have a pause as soon as Philly come out with their Genji Ash comp.
Your finals about a pause, and yeah, Philly going out with the Genji Ash. This is Fusion's time to strike back. This is their time to prove that they are, the super team that the fans are.
From EQO. So let's take a look. Oh, the Halt comes over. Bit of Halt and Dynamite there, trying to see if Carpe can build up as much damage as possible. But he is essentially going to be uncontested with these long sight lines. No one will pressure Carpe.
Big dash through. You can see Sparkle already up to 40% of his ultimate. Just trying to prioritize that blade build up. And EQO just taking an angle. Nice whip shot to peel away. Xe actually pushed away from the fight there, but everyone on Fusion is very, very low. But not before Sparkle goes down himself. A nice even trade. EQO finds Xe, means no more damage dealers. The Fusion have been given a window of opportunity, and they are sure to take it now. Amplification Matrix unloaded, just for good measure. Not sure it was too necessary, but Paris Eternal's still going to be rotating all around as a little three-man unit. You can see them just kind of caught out behind enemy lines, using the rally. They want to try and contest this.
I think this makes sense, though, because Sparkle is going to come in off the spawn, and if he can find any value with his blade, and if EQO can be stopped, then they might be turnable. Sparkle comes back in.
Sparkle with the blade! Knocked back with Bob and the accretion as well to stun him. Beautiful plays by the Fusion just to try and negate that. Putting in so much work. Still not over, though. The Paris Eternal somehow still have players in this fight, but finally, Ben Best and FD God will fall. And that gives the Fusion the opportunities they were looking for, the openings they were looking for. They're going to cap up point A, and they have a good time bank to work with.
Ren, I want to point out a hidden talent that we've kind of overlooked, I think, so far. Sparkle has been shut down on so many of these blades, more so than against any other team. And in my opinion, the biggest reason is because, yes, Alarm is there setting up with a bash, but so is Fury. Fury seems to hit every accretion. And frankly, it's bonkers that we haven't talked more about this guy, because he's, historically he's been arguably the best off-tank that we've ever seen in Overwatch. But he is hitting some nasty accretions to shut down Sparkle's blades. And if you can take Sparkle out, you have taken Paris out.
Fusion down in maps, but they are not out in the slightest. Battling back, trying to gain any advantage they can, and Blizzard World is the playground in which they're doing so. And this card's going to get a bit of free progress, as you can see, but it's hard to push when the high ground is there. Paris Eternal have it. Xe holding it with his McCree, looking out for the flanks. You can see him just drifting from side to side, trying to spot out EQO.
And Philly are going for a wraparound play here, aiming to take control of the high ground away. It looked like they were hesitating for a moment, but Philly will move up there. They won't be able to push the payload, though, in the meantime. They don't have a Tracer, and EQO is not really going to push the payload himself. He's required in the fights. So this high ground engagement is going to be quite tough, especially with Ben Best Supercharger online.
Okay, Supercharger is going to be used. Carpe, he's built up that bomb. Sends it in. Well, oh my goodness, running straight into them. And it seems the Fusion turning up a little bit here. Xe trying to return the fire a little bit. He does take out Carpe and Bob. dynamic duo going to be gone here, but the Fusion are definitely going to be winning this one now as they commit the window just to the fight. The Hulk going to be pulling them together for it, and the Fusion rolling forward even more. 3 minutes is what they've got, and they're making the most of it.
Sparkle looks like he wants to go for a contest. Ooh. Oh, another rock from Fury. They have been so consistently excellent. Hanbin on the ball just to try and contest point B, but this does not look doable.
It does not look good.
I don't see a world in which Paris complete this.
Yeah. Sparkle taken out as well. You can see Hanbin. The fact that he's had to switch over to the ball just to try and contest this is not a good sign. He will eventually fall, and now the Fusion are rolling with it. 4 minutes. A lot of time, but we've seen teams get stalled out here in this final section before. Paris Eternal are coming close to their own blade. You can see Sparkle's just 2% away from that one. Hanbin makes the switch back over to the Sigma, so returning to the double shield, of course.
But Philly have a bit of an advantage in the fight just because Fury has that gravitic flux. Xe is now moving over to the McCree again, aiming to shut down EQO's blade. EQO has kind of held onto his blades for quite a long time, not choosing to play hyper aggro like Sparkle. And Philly have done a great job at just disengaging, making Sparkle's life so much more difficult.
Okay.
That's a nice pick, though.
That is a great pick. Actually, I think I was taken on the left flank on our screens right now. Yeah, Fusion, they know exactly how to play into that. FD God uses the rally. Paris tries to engage, you try and get a pick off the back of it. You know, the constant armor being replenished is a huge boon in the battle. And the Fusion know exactly how to play around it. But it does buy a bit of time, so 30 seconds off the clock as they try to rotate now back around. And they're going to see if they can create any openings of their own here. Positioning
Carpe can land a headshot. Yeah, it is completely reversed. And Philly are getting closer and closer to big ultimates. The rally's already come out for FD.
That is a huge gravitic flux off onto the side there. Fury finding 3 targets. It's an early immortality field used, and EQ is still holding onto his blade, remember. Now that that's gone, Sparkle going to be trying to make a name for himself as well. Look at this, going straight in with the blade, but shut down again. And EQO with his own blade puts in enough damage for his team to capitalize off the back of it.
And this time, again, it's alarm, but it's a halt from Sado. The Philadelphia Fusion are like no other team we've seen at being able to shut down Sparkle. Sparkle has had his way with this tournament so far, and this is the only team that has had an answer. The only team with the coordination and the ability to retreat. Shock have the coordination, but they love pressing aggressively. But Philly, they're more tempered. They know when to retreat and when to back off, and they respect Sparkle, and they have shut him down.
Supercharger used here. That's going to force our Hanbin to use that gravitic flux just to try and negate some of the presence that Fusion are applying. Supercharger goes down, which may be one of the goals, and it's going to remove a bit of the bite from the Fusion as they try and push this one in through the side. The Fusion be bit off a little bit more than they could chew there, as you can see. Xe with the Deadeye as well. Way too much damage to try and negate and push through, along with that amplification matrix. A lot of ultimates used by Paris there, but necessary to try and stop the push.
Absolutely necessary, and they'll still have their Bongo Blade coming up for the next fight. I can't decide, Brent, whether I prefer Bongo Blade or Super Blade, but
Super
either
Blade
way, it's
kind of reminds me of Super's Genji, which no one should be reminded of.
Absolutely true. That's a good point. We'll stick with the Bongo Blade then, because that's what Paris Eternal are looking for. The extra damage applied to Sparkle. When you combine that with FD God giving him the rally and Inspire healing is huge. And Hanbin is off on a weird angle, meaning that Benbest does not have health.
Okay. But Xe immediately trades it out. He knew he needed to get a pick there, so he takes out Carpe. One carry for another. Gravitic Flux used. Fury trying to even it out. He wants to try and create an opening for his team because only 45 seconds remaining. Sado pulled FD God while Sparkle was blading in the background. Boombox went down, but still the Fusion pushing forward. EQO going to be prioritizing that Supercharger, and he does just that. Blade coming out now. EQO trying to find him, though. He's not going to get the Gravitic Flux. He's not going to get his target, which was Hanbin, but he does find 3 kills. EQO showing up. What is that? Ridiculous movement. And that is going to be the completion, the capture for the Fusion with just 21 seconds remaining.
But time in the bank, though, and that's absolutely crucial. EQO, actually, that final slice caught Hanbin as well as catching Benbest. So that's the best possible scenario there for EQO's blade towards the end. And you can kind of tell, the more this series goes on, that if you... Okay, let's take out the control maps. The control maps where Paris Eternal were playing the Reaper Mei compositions or Mei symmetric compositions, if we instead just focus on when Genji has been played, when EQO and Sparkle are contesting on the Genji, it's really been EQO that's had more impact, because Fusion are so good at shutting down Sparkle. This backline, this tank line, have just been so coordinated at making sure Sparkle gets zero value, and it sets EQO up for these ridiculous plays, where he can just come in from the flank, find individual picks, and also, of course, get blades like this.
The fact that he still found value with that. When his dash moved into the wall, he dashed into the wall trying to take out Hanbin. It was off by a millimeter, just slightly off on the precision, but he still made the most of it. His team still pushed in, took advantage of the positioning. Really, really elite gameplay coming out from the Fusion, showcasing why, yeah, they may have been the number 3 seed coming into this, but they want to be the undisputed number 1 seed in North America.
And it's that veteran savvy from EQO, from Sado, from Fury, that has really helped them so far. Along with Alarm, who must not be discounted from the conversation because his Brigitte has been genuinely game-changing for the Philadelphia Fusion. People doubted him on it at the beginning, but he has just been so good.
The Paris Eternal's playstyle revolving around Sparkle, enabling him completely. It's been working, it's carried them this far, why not all the way to the end? Sparkle's so low, he needs to be healed up! What is going on there? Okay, Sparkle just taken out. That was just some standard spam damage, not the opening you want if you're Paris.
Not at all. And Exy again on the McCree. I think it's even harder to get value out of the McCree on attack than it is on defense, but so far he has proven me wrong repeatedly, finding picks all over the place. Maybe gonna go for a flank and take the high ground, but it seems unlikely. I think he'll just push with the rest of his team. No, it does look like he's going for a flank, so he's gonna try and occupy that high ground, despite the fact he's not on the Ash.
Well, while they've been walking in, Carpe has just been peppering them with damage, and he's already built up a Bob for this next fight. And
Exy is snuck around the side. He's all the way up away from the rest of his team.
Yeah, we'll see what he's able to do here. He's actually peppering in damage into Fury. Fury is unaware, but the Bob did force the positioning. EQO trying to get that kill into FD God, desperate for it. The dash. The wall, but he does get out alive, and now they move forward. Paris trying to make their mark. EQO shut down. Flashbang from Exy, enough to stop him in his tracks. Now Exy going for a flank. He's hungry. He can smell the blood in the water. Boombox with a quick little 180. Somehow almost killing Exy. Something that we don't really talk about too often, but showing that mechanical skill and putting it to the work. And now you see Paris Eternal just trying to take advantage of the fact that they're a little bit staggered. Positioning of the Fusion is all over the place. But finally, they're going to be rolling over them. With a lot of ultimates here that they can still expend if they feel like it's getting hairy. Sparkle on 14 health gets taken out. I think, could the Fusion even contest this? Am I talking nonsense, Josh?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be in a position to contest whatsoever. But they are going to get spawns, and they're going to have control of the high ground. The problem is, look at the Paris Eternal ult bank. They have everything they need. Benbest and FD God are at 90% of their ultimates as well.
Hello.
That was a 2-man flashbang from EQO onto EQO and Fury. Almost looked like an Earth Shatter. You don't normally see multiple stuns up at the top unless there's a Rhine out on the field. But I think we need something spectacular from Carpe or from EQO in order to hold this momentum. Well, Paris look set to continue through the Streets phase.
Carpe almost has the Bob, which a couple of times he's just saved it, waited for Sparkle to go in, and used the Bob to knock him back. As a bit of extra peel, you know, on top of the whip shot, the shield bash, whatever else they've got. But Paris are now going to try and lead this one in. They're going to use the amplification matrix, but it's very far back, which means that the Fusion, they can just wait around the shield. They're not really bothered. They're not really fussed about it. They're going to wait it out as the Paris Eternal are now going to start to rotate to the high ground. But they are going to be waddling, wading into a bit of a dangerous threat still. Going to be using ultimates here. EQO's Blade. Going to remove a lot of the utility. Takes it out, but Sparkle answers back with one of his own. Gets the kill, very low in the process. You see the Gravitic Flux is being forced out. What a Gravitic Flux from Hanbin. Everyone fell so low. They put in enough damage just to take them all out. Great performance from him. And it is scrappy, but it works at the end of the day, and it means that the Paris Eternal are most likely going to be walking away with this, with the win. I say that.
Except,
I say that.
The tank still had the high ground, and Fielder was really weak, so there was chance. There's still a chance that this can be turned. EQO's found a pick.
EQO's found a pick onto FD God. Hanbin's caught out of position. He's going to regroup with Benbest here. And, okay, the cart moved around, which forced the tank away from the high ground. So if that cart got halted in the streets, then Fusion would have had to give up the high ground here. But, okay, a reset now from Paris as they're going to rotate to the high ground themselves.
Yeah, now this is going to be a much more even engagement as well. Philly have done such a good job here at bleeding out the ult bank of the Paris Eternal. They got an amp matrix to take control with. Oh, wow. That's so nice.
A lot of damage.
Great timing on the immortality field as well. A huge amount of damage sent out. And Fury forced to use his ult. But EQO falls.
Somehow finding a kill onto EQO. I believe that was a bit of a solo queue. Immortality field keeps him alive. Those right clicks, Exy from the high ground as well. When he's on the McCree, anything is possible. Flashbang not going to be getting too much done as the Fortify was there, but this is his playground. Making magic before our very eyes. 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Very reminiscent of how much the Fusion had to work with. Now, deflect, yep, doesn't work against huge rocks.
Oh, look how good Fury is, though. I don't think he's missed an accretion this entire match.
So good.
It's absolutely bonkers. We don't talk about him too much as being the best off-tank in the world anymore. There have been, you know, other candidates that have maybe stolen his throne a little bit, but Fury remains absolutely one of the elites, and he's making a good argument for him to return to the top in this series.
So interesting, because Paris Eternal have split their team up into two here. Hampin's on the flank. He has a gravitic flux, and I think he's trying to force the backline out by moving forward. They know he's got his ult. The Deadeye's going to be forcing them even further back, and this might be right into where they want them. Because Hampin, look how forward he's playing.
They've already got out the immortality field as well, Brent, so there's nothing to save them.
Sparkle comes in with the blade, dashing through them. And there's the gravitic flux just on top. Pumps in so much damage. Fusion, though, they play together, they stick together. The heals are there, but is it enough to stop them when the damage is being followed through? It's a hard ask right now if you are the Fusion, still rolling in. EQO trying to turn it around with his own blade, finds two. Are you joking? The blade not quite there, but a right click definitely is, and they have turned it, thankfully, off the back of EQO's blade.
What a sick clutch blade for EQO. Oh, it's so much fun to see this guy play. Making the same clutch plays that he was making back in 2018 on the Genji as well. And Sparkle, he actually got accretioned again by Fury when he went in with that blade. Even though he had every tool available to help him, Fury again is just so difficult to get past. And just by slowing him down, ensuring that the Fusion don't wipe, Fury sets up EQO for the blade.
Wonderful play by Sado to pull them together, but Exy takes him out. And Exy now has free reign off on the sidelines. The flank is paying off. Carpe falls. And he's just pumping in so much consistent damage despite the fact that he's playing the McCree. No one's there to stop him. EQO has to stop this cart now. He had to use his deflect. Sado moving over to the Wrecking Ball just to try and stall this one. The Paris Eternal have the rally. They have so much health to work with that this cart doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. A couple of players remain, but it's not enough. The Paris Eternal get that capture with a bit more time on top. The cherry on top, if you will. Because it's not a huge difference compared to the Philadelphia Fusion. Still, 44 seconds can be the difference between a win and a loss.
As the Paris Eternal well know. But the other way around, because they had...
Similar situation happened with Kings Row, yeah.
Kings Row was the mirror image of this, where the Philadelphia Fusion complete in overtime, and then Paris Eternal respond and can't quite get that over a minute difference. This time it's a 44-second difference. But at the end of the day, when you're playing hybrid, that time bank doesn't really matter. A difference that small, it still comes down to your attacking execution. And Paris completely fell to pieces on Kings Row when the pressure really... When it came down to it, when the pressure was applied, they just couldn't pull it out, and Philly went ahead.
1 minute. It's all the Fusion have got on their attack, and that's what stands between their hopes and dreams being crushed. A team that's repeatedly failed to capitalize off of their finals, failed to convert it into a win, into a championship, if you will. This is their opportunity, their time to shine, because they're going to be on the attack. And they're the ones who have to make all the moves. So much pressure. Now, could still be a draw. No one take that away for you as well. It's a little bit more anticlimactic to say that, but...
Except it would make the series even longer, which I'm perfectly happy with when we talk about Paris versus Philly.
And there's going to be Philly rolling out. Same comp as usual. A lot of eyes going to be on Carpe and EQO to try and perform, to try and find those openings necessary to crack this point open.
I believe last time it was an early kill on Sparkle. Just trying to go a little too aggressive. So he's got to be a bit more measured in his approach. Carpe taking control of Snax Ramus.
Yep. Oh, and that's an instant kill onto Fielder. Straight away, EQO with the dash resets. He's finding so much work. The Paris Eternal crumbling. Reminiscent of the Kings Row that we've seen earlier, when the Fusion only had a minute And they got that first capture.
Heartbreak if you're a Paris fan. This does not set them up for success, but a great performance from the Philadelphia Fusion. Again, EQO's style of Genji, kill-focused, trying to get those confirmed final blows, and he does it again, builds up to a blade, and he can keep this rolling.
Yeah, that blade is going to be pivotal for Carpe. Too far forward, he gets taken out. I think Bembest halted him forward, so now EQO's going to make a play, but he dies in the process, Josh. The overtime's going, and Fusion, they may have just thrown it away. The Immortality Fields are traded out. The damage is being done. The right clicks from Sparkle are too much. He doesn't even have the blade, but he does not need it. And now Sparkle builds one of his own straight into the fray, straight into the maw, the belly of the beast. So much damage, and that is going to stop the fight. That is going to stop the push. The Fusion, it was looking so good for them.
Well, as Mary Berry says on the Great British Bake Off, one good crumble deserves another. They fell to pieces there, the Paris Eternal on defense, and then Carpe and EQO just threw themselves into the maw. That was an appalling mistake from Carpe to die that far forwards, especially when EQO has his blade up, and then to be fair to EQO, he just goes in to try and save and salvage whatever was left. But look at Carpe.
What is Carpe doing here?
What is he doing on this forward angle? Just gets halted and killed immediately, and then EQO's like, right, well, I guess I'm stuck. I've tried to help, but there's nothing more that he can do. He loses somewhat of a duel against Sparkle, but he had his entire team there. They had such a great opportunity, Bren, to snowball that into a large offense.
But that just highlights, I think, the level of play between these two teams. These are currently our two best teams in North America. They fought, both of them, tooth and nail to get to this point now in the Summer Showdown Finals. And you can see how one mistake, that's all the team needs to get back into it. One mistake.
And suddenly this doesn't look so much like King's Row. Even though the Philadelphia Fusion were able to capture point A, they didn't really get the payload very far. And so they must be perfect with their defense here. 1 minute and 44 is only really 2 pushes.
So much pressure.
But they must hold on for both of those pushes.
Map point for the Paris Eternal. They're on attack. They've got an extra 44 seconds in comparison to what the Fusion had to work with. The Fusion, they've got to play perfect. Picture perfect. To try and stop this, keep their hopes and dreams alive here. The Paris Eternal may be walking away with it. Rotating forwards, just pumping in a bit of damage. That spam in between them. Sparkle trying to build up his blade. Carpe on the flank.
Carpe, great opening kill on Wexy. That's exactly what you want to see. The Philadelphia Fusion starting things off great.
Yep, and now that Exy is gone, it means that EQO can play just that bit more aggressive. No more McCree to worry about, no more flashbang. EQO already up to 60% of his blade. Pumping in so much damage, and those Orissas, a big body to hit with those right clicks. You can just farm up your ultimate all day long.
Both Batiste have managed to generate their ult, and EQO leads, although by a slim margin in terms of the Dragon Blade percentages. Really what I'm looking at, though, is Fury. Again, Fury. Because he has made a large difference in terms of his damage output in there, getting involved in the cleanup. And he's at 90% of a gravitic flux. All of these ultimates are so important to ensure that Philadelphia stays alive in this tournament. They must hold. 30 seconds remain.
Ults online. The Fusion in the final moments here. 20 seconds away from continuing this tournament run. What? A halt accretion from Fury. Holy moly, they bring down Sparkle, and that was with the damage amplification as well as it went through the window. No more blade. Paris, they have to go now, and they do not have their star player to make it work for them. Rotating around onto the point, it's going to be another gravitic flux here again from Fury. Sends him up, sends him down. Fury, what a play! Superstar level performance as EQO cleans them up, and the Fusion continue their road right now. We are going to the final map here in this series, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
What a stellar performance from the Philadelphia Fusion. Hybrid maps. They don't look as good when it comes to the regulation time. They don't complete with as much time on the point. But that second round, where the clutch really matters, that's where Philadelphia Fusion excel. to that 5th map against the Shock.
It really was. His standout performances, the Genji Brawl composition that we've been talking about so much. Both of these teams clearly believe that it is the better playstyle. And for what Xy's kind of teasing us with here, Paris Eternal not the only ones that have been making adaptations as the series have gone on. Of course, Philadelphia Fusion have been getting better and better at negating Sparkle's impact, but Xy's there with the McCree now to try and punish EQO's flanking playstyle. This battle between the two teams, the mind games that are in play right now, as we're in our potentially, and I say potentially, but it is, let's be real, the final map here of the Summer Showdowns between the Paris Eternal and the Philadelphia Fusion. My word, has been a good one.
Xy is going to have to play like a beast in order to stop Carpe just destroying them here. This is one of the best Widowmaker or Ashe maps that we have in the pool. And Carpe is going to have a lot of angles to be able to work with. Yeah, it's down to Xy and Sparkle really to win this one for the Paris Eternal.
See, the Hulk comes out, the rock blocked there by a shield. That was Fury. Again, good timing from him. And this time the Paris Eternal rotating over to the high ground, while Sparkle is just focusing on pushing the cart, so he's trying to force one of the players down onto it, which is EQO. Hulk comes through, dash into it, Sparkle up to almost 70% of his blade, but EQO goes down, caught unaware. And that was Xy again, that threat of the flashbang, but the fight still continues down in the lower sections. Sparkle dashing through the opposition, slicing and dicing, going straight for the artery. Knows exactly where the weak points are. And he has that blade ready and waiting, Josh.
As soon as EQO got taken out, Sparkle was there, ready to go aggressive, not worried about his backline anymore, not caring, honestly, about what the Philadelphia Fusion would do to him. And he is 65% ahead of EQO, and they have immediately captured point A. And Philly aren't even set up on the high ground here. This is weird. Normally you would see the Fusion immediately set up on high ground and start putting pressure on Paris as they cross the bridge, but they've been slow to do that, and Paris have already crossed.
Yeah, EQO got caught out of position, but that's pretty brilliant from Carpe, if I do say so myself. Nice little headshot onto Xy. That is great for them. You see the dash through, desperation by Sparkle as he tries to make something happen, and the rest of Paris is going to be feeding into them, so decent challenge now from the Fusion to stop that one.
Very good high ground control and brilliant pickoff at the beginning by Carpe. This is a very powerful position to hold. We have seen the meta evolve on Rialto quite a lot, to the point where we've seen teams just never be able to push past the bridge. I'm thinking of Decay when he was playing for Dallas against the Houston Outlaws. I'm thinking of Shanghai when they played against the Spark. We know that good teams can just stop players crossing this bridge, and I worry about what Xy is going to be able to do. Having said that, I feel like I say it every time he's on the McCree, and he still manages to come up with the goods.
Oh, if Digo goes off the edge of the map! There's Alarm with the whip shot, finds it. Carpe's Bob, I mean, it is going to go down, but at the end of the day, they've got the opening pickoff. Now, the cart is moving, which should force Fusion to kind of act and drop down, maybe. They're rotating pretty well, and that gives Paris some space. You can see the mind games as they're starting to rotate up onto the high ground, but it is just Ben Best. I wonder what they're playing at. All right, keep your secrets.
Just looking to get some cart push here. It would be lovely for them to be able to push the high ground, but it turns out that Philly didn't go for the defense. So just falling back to this corner, and Carpe going down is absolutely huge.
Yep, and this is the corner where you need to defend. It's one of the most defensible positions in Rialto. They've lost one of their star players. The blade comes out from Sparkle. Doesn't get too much done, but it does remove the supercharger, and that gives Hanbin free reign once more. Gravitic Flux sends them up and down. And this cart will not stop moving. That's a bit of a brutal defense there. Fury got staggered in the background as well, as you saw there. A little bit disorientating, but Paris now, they've got through one of the most difficult sections of this entire map.
Easily got through one of the most difficult sections. With 4.5 minutes, they are attacking point C, and Carpe cannot make mistakes like that. We scolded him for it on Blizzard World, but it ended up not actually coming to fruition. But if he doesn't see the consequences, perhaps he won't learn the lesson. This is a lesson he needs to learn.
Trying to put in that damage. The flashbang comes through. One piece of utility gone, and that's the rest of the Fusion. Look at that, just diving straight in. Able to find the openings that they needed. The picks, the pickoffs, and a pretty good showcase from Fusion. It was looking shaky. I'm not going to deny I was a little bit worried right then for Fusion because they gave up so much ground so early on in this map. The fact that they stopped the bleeding is a good sign.
This is another position that Philly should be able to hold. If Fury gets holded off the high ground, that's going to give them an opportunity to take control of the upper levels. Now it just comes down to Paris building up ults, essentially. I don't think they'll actually want to push with the Amp Matrix and the Deadeye. Oh, if Carpe goes down here, it really could be a disaster for the Fusion.
Carpe might not know what's going on right now, but there's like a bit of a divide and conquer strategy going on. You can see Bembe's got to kill into Alarm there. EQO forced out the blade, and he is going to get 2. But XE follows it up onto Carpe. Even trades. Nice mechanics. EQO. Dash into the melee more than enough. Dodges the flashbang. Pretty clean from him. Add that one to the highlight reel.
You definitely think of Sparkle as the more mechanically gifted Genji, but EQO is no slouch whatsoever.
Yeah.
He combines that veteran understanding of how the game works with honestly fantastic mechanics.
Back when the Fusion had Shadowburn, one of the most world-renowned Genji players of all time, EQO still had playtime over it. That's how good EQO is on the Genji himself, how well he fits into the playstyle of the Fusion. Showcasing it here and now. But the Paris Eternal have got openings because you can see the ults are coming online. Almost up to both of those tank ultimates. And Sparkle has that blade. As much as we've gone on about the Fusion being so good at negating it, sometimes it's quite difficult to do. Now, Gravitic Flux is going to force down, and that is a great collapse onto Sparkle. Half HP, the dive attempt was there. And another teamfight win. This is pretty good for the Fusion.
A beautiful shutdown. That's Fury again. He gets the Gravitic Flux onto Sparkle, which is normally a really difficult thing to do. You have to be monitoring the Genji's dash cooldowns, and he does there. As Sparkle goes for the engage, there's EQO towards the end as well. This is just a replay of his previous blade, where he was able to tear people to pieces. But we're going to cut that a little short because Paris are going to come back on the attack. There's 2 minutes left for them, and they have all the ults they could possibly need.
Yeah, a lot of ults indeed. Rally to enable them to walk through. Sparkle with the blade stun, bashed up, taken out again by Fury! You've got to be joking! Superb performance from the off-tank. Was known as one of the best divas in the world, but Paris do not want to give it up! What? XE, the Deadeye into the Gravitic Flux, straight up in the air, and they gave them the angle. It gave XE the angle, the opening he needed to capitalize. And just when you think Sparkle shut down, the fight is over, the push is ended, they answer back, and you remember, oh goodness me, yep, XE, one of the best McCrees in the world.
Deadeye is so difficult to find value within this meta, but the Flux combination is perfect. And as much as Fury and Alarm are just amazing defensive heroes, how do you defend this? Paris Eternal have already taken all of the position necessary, and AQO is weak. XE's just plinking people from the back, but FD does fall.
Some real snowball potential here, though, as they're trading out the players, but Sparkle goes down from the hip shot, and with Carpe still alive, pumping in the damage, they can breathe a sigh of relief. Fusion going to be holding on to this point. Not letting them push, but it is final fight territory right now for the Paris Eternal. No ultimates to work with, not even really a lot of time as well for them to get in here.
This is desperation from Paris. They need some huge play from XE, otherwise Philly, with their amazing defensive play, are going to hold Paris away from a full completion. Yeah, a lot of ults to be able to work with. It seems insurmountable. The advantages that Philly has are huge, but we've seen weird things happen so far in this series. Both of these teams are so good in the clutch.
Amplification Matrix forces them back, but it's actually Fusion who back off to the point. They want to get caught out. A flashbang is going to connect, but the heals are there. Dash through from EQO, and now the blade comes in! Monstrous combo! EQO slicing through the opposition. That should end that push. Indeed, it does. The Paris Eternal are going to be stopping just short of the finish line. Oh, well, the Philadelphia Fusion can be quite pleased, I think, at stopping that one. What was looking like, honestly, I'll say it, a bit of a disaster early on. They had a bit of a failure to try and defend that one in the first section of Brialto, even during the middle section where you go around that U-bend and you can hold from the high ground from the stairs. The Fusion failed to hold on, so the fact that they prevented this full capture, I've got to commend that.
And here's that replay that we tried to run before. It's EQO's blade, just to ensure that Paris have no chance of being able to take control. And this is really, I mean, this is so stylish as well. Yeah, the immediate 180. That's great mechanics. But plays like that, and plays from Fury in particular as well, were what saved the Philadelphia Fusion on Rialto. Because they really should have already lost this map, essentially, because Paris were making stonking time through point A and B, like you just said, but they held it together on C, and that's what's so fun to watch about these escort maps is at any point the momentum can just immediately switch, and a team can dig their heels in and really hold on.
Well, especially a team
the defense
like Philly.
of the Fusion was so good.
Right? You think about some of the most clutch moments of all time. This is what Philadelphia Fusion are known for. Is, you know, when the whole world is against them, they turn their back on it and they say, no, we will not go down.
Could you predict, Bren, right now, who's going to win this series?
I
couldn't.
Think so. No.
I have no idea.
I have no idea in the slightest. I'm sure it's quite stressful. I'm a fan of both of these teams, so it is quite stressful for me watching it, but I'm not sure who I want to win at this point. XC going to be playing that Widowmaker, searching for a shot or two. Going to be holding down the flank right now. Find yourself someone to hold it down.
XC sending a shot in from the left-hand side.
That's some nice dynamite damage.
Fairly far back.
Yeah,
pretty decent dynamite damage, and that's normally the cue for Philadelphia Fusion. They'll try and get big Halt Dynamites and have EQO finish off a pick, but they need to play for the high ground first, I think. EQO's trying to play on the side here, and he did get hurt a little bit. Now he's playing a bit more like Sparkle, getting himself involved in the team fight, getting that deflect up, but he's just been totally countered. The Paris Eternal did way more damage in that fight. Sparkle has built up a blade already.
What in the Lord's name was that? Okay, the Paris Eternal, they defend. And yeah, from the fusions there, you saw signs, so to speak, that they were almost mirroring the Paris Eternal's playstyle, trying to go for the Halt dash to try and build up EQO's blade. Paris Eternal say, no. Listen. You can't mirror what we've been doing this entire series long. They put an end to it with their own, and now, as you said, Josh, they've got the blade, and XC's still on these long sight lines presenting it, but the blade comes out. A lot is done. They're booped back. They're sent backwards, but finally the kill comes through. Sparkle put in so much damage, so much work that he's able to clean up the team fight with the help of the rest of his team.
And only the blade invested. That's fantastic economy from the Paris Eternal. Normally you see blade and rally, or you see blade and supercharger, or sometimes, like Philly have been doing, the blade and the flux. But the fact that Paris only had to use that single ult has bought them so much time. Oh, Alarm saw. Even if the rest of his team didn't, Alarm's got keen eyes and he spots out the threat on the side.
Yep. Situational awareness through the roof. Now the Fusion have got the ults. Window's probably going to go down. Indeed it does. So pumping damage through it. Both teams just trying to take it head on as they both use their amplification matrices, but forced backwards now. Rally used as well. Alarm's going to be trying to lead it in, but fades away for both of these teams. Now we see Gravitic Flux connects onto a lot of targets. Best uses his Fortify to negate a lot of it. EQO so low, he's only on 7 HP! Still gets the kill, but eventually shut down. XC from afar puts an end to it. The dash through, the Fusion finding the Picos. A lot of damage, a lot of sustain. I think Alarm being one of the key figures there in that team fight.
Yeah, Fury and Alarm. They're such an amazing duo. They're normally defensive to shut down Sparkle, but this time they're playing offensively. Using the rally, using the Gravitic Flux, setting EQO up, and then pummeling everybody else when it comes down to that brawl. Are Paris really going to try and defend this?
Okay. Interesting maneuver. XC finds a pick. XC finds two. No. It wasn't supposed to end like this on the flank. What a turn of events. And that has just put so much damage. The Fusion, I mean, they're left the gas. They don't know what to make of it.
That should not happen. That should not happen. XE takes a team fight into his own hands. Paris had taken so much damage just to be able to approach, and here it is, the replay. Boombox had no idea, and EQO, that shot, his head only presented for a minimal amount of time. And now that has ruined the Philadelphia Fusion. They are going to have double support ults, but nothing else.
30 seconds, Josh. That's all they've got. In the Fusion, they've got to get past this incredible sightline that XE has. The infra side is up. And Paris Eternal.
Oh, Bren.
Close to this
Bren,
blade.
How cruel for Fusion to come so close yet again in a finals. And to have it ripped away from them by a clutch play from XE, it would almost be too much to bear.
Hopes and dreams of Fusion right now laying bare. Sparkle wants to try and put an end to it. Blade in hand, it's going right down to the distance as the overtime burns through. The Fusion need to find an opening. Sparkle now moving through, but X is on the flank. The headshot onto Carpe. One of their star players taken out early. And Boombox just left to his own devices in the sidelines. He goes down. The Fusion, only a couple of players left remaining. EQO's got to come up huge right now. Everyone is weak. EQO with the blade, pulls it through, builds it up. Will it be enough? 1 kill, 2 kill. Are you kidding me? EQO now finds it with the third. And now it is overtime. XE moving over to the Tracer to try and deny, but EQO! What a player, what a star! Unbelievable performance in the overtime clutch, and normally it's Carpe, normally he steps up, but this time, EQO reminds everybody at home why he's still on this roster.
I have chills, Brent. That's the single most monstrous clutch I think I've ever seen. Philly come into that fight with no ults. The Exi gets the first kill, and EQO somehow responds. The clutch blade at the end as well. I'm in shock. I think the Paris Eternal will be in shock as well.
That should have been the series, but EQO has kept them in it. He's handed them a lifeline, and now we'll see if the Fusion can take it even further.
Supercharger here available for Sadov.
Yeah.
It's BenBest that uses his first. Both teams trade, and EQO
down
again.
BenBest goes down, the Immortality Field goes down as well. A lot of openings here. EQO with the dash resets once more. Finding so many opportunities. He's already built up the blade. Everyone is crumbling on Parasar, and how can you not? I'm still in disbelief that EQO has clutched that out, and I think Parasar as well. They probably thought that that was the series done and dusted.
And now Philly, in stunned silence, they move forwards. EQO with another blade. This could be huge. Boombox as well with a massive amp matrix. That's going to force Paris Eternal to disengage. Hanbin forced to use his ult, but EQO goes down.
EQO going down could be critical. Could be the difference between losing this series and winning it. Sparkle with the blade, but shut down. The shield bash from Alarm. He's always been on point. He's always been there. And Carpe had his back with the headshot as well. Now it is down and dirty. Pandemonium on the point. The final section here, Fury trying to find openings for his team. The accretion going to be used to try and force them backwards, but Paris are not out of it just yet, especially with the Deadeye unleashed. Finding one pick off Fordham, the flashbang. I don't know if that quite connected, but it matters not. EQO tries to force out the blade, but gets shut down. Josh, 30 seconds left.
And surely the Philadelphia Fusion cannot do it again. If EQO had held onto the blade, maybe, but he just needed to invest it there. He thinks there's a better chance with 30 seconds remaining of being able to turn that fight than them approach all the way in. There's only 10 seconds remaining, Brent. BenBest has moved over to the Reinhardt, and I think this might be it for Philly.
Vaulted off the high ground. Could be a good opening, and Carpe finds it. The headshot of the Sparkle shuts him down. The overtime will tick. An opening for them, the Earth Shatter. Last-ditch effort here. BenBest tries to find it, and he connects it onto one. Paris Eternal, finding so many. Exi with the flank of a sentry to flashbang fan the hammer. Reminiscent of a dominant team once before, but here we have it, the Paris Eternal pumping in the damage, shutting down the Fusion, and they denied him of their crown, they denied him of their champion title. The Paris Eternal take the series.
Well, the Philadelphia Fusion made them work for it, but Paris Eternal are your champions in NA. That is fantastic. What a series, what a final. What a clutch from EQO to even keep them alive in it in the first place. But Paris, in back-to-back series, pick Rialto and take it away. They take the win over the Shock. They upset the defending champions. They take the win against the Philadelphia Fusion here again. And how cruel Philly fans will bemoan as they were stalled out in the finals of Stage 2 in 2019. They were stalled out in the grand finals of 2018 against the London Spitfire. And then once again, they will be denied a title.
My heart...
in the Summer Showdown.
My heart aches for the Philly. Just the team itself. I know how much this finals probably meant to them, but you got to give utmost credit